Hey everybody, I'm Trevor.
I'm Vincent.
We are the Anthony and Todd Show, and today we're going to be taking a look at the latest American football release, American Football 3.
There were 3 balls before this foot kicked them. That came out
Not anymore. American Football is an American band from Illinois. They formed back in like the late 90s and broke up in 2000, but they only released like an EP called American Football and then an actual album called American Football. And then they broke up for a long time due to creative differences. I don't know why they broke up. They couldn't decide on a name. And then they finally reformed back in 2014 and have since released a second album, American Football, in 2016. And so this is their third album, American Football.
Yeah, their 2016 release was one of the releases when I was at WSU, when I was a music director, that I got sent. And I like don't remember anything about it besides I really disliked it. I found it just to be like in poor taste in the sense of it was just so moany and annoying and harsh for no reason. I was surprised when their first single Silhouettes came out because it was actually in a different direction. It was way more ambient in a sense, way more large, misty kind of like a melancholic happiness in a sense, this weird depressive happy. And it had a lot of bells. I thought the guitar riffs were good. But in a sense, the rest of the album is essentially just the stretching of that one track. The same guitar riffs and sound and performances are done over and over and over again. While there's some nice switch-ups with bells and horns and some occasional other vocalists, the rest of this album is the one track stretched out over 40 minutes. For no reason. And while I can condemn how the lyricism isn't bad, it's also in the second half of the album not really poignant. In the opening track Silhouettes, it goes over this kind of like self-hatred, but also like the urge to recover from depression or mental illness. And then later on we get this like kind of arguing couple of sorts, or at least arguing personalities between Haley Williams and the frontman. It's okay, but nothing super special. There's some nice introspective moments here and there, but there's nothing really does it for me. On tracks like Doom and Full Bloom, it's literally like nothing. It's very minimal. It's nothing bad. But after that, like it's pointless. Like there's the lyricism is essentially background to the guitars, which take up 90% of this record. And they're the same riffs over and over. It's the same sound showcase over and over. Like again, it's the stretching of this first track for 40 minutes. I don't think I can say anything else but that.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends or people that I know that are really into American football and have been for like a long time. And this is the first album that I've listened to by them, and I don't get the hype. I don't understand like why so many people enjoy this music. Like you said, it just feels like the same song stretched out over the course of like 45 minutes or something. I didn't think that like any of the lyricism was super interesting to me. It felt like you said, it felt like very just moany, but not in like a Kid Cudi way, like an interesting emo way, I guess. It just felt like complaining about like having to take out the trash or something.
The frontman sounds like the vocalist of Ghost if he was in his feels for 45 minutes.
I don't think moany is a good word. I think whiny is a good word because I don't think there's any good connotation of whiny.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy listening to it because of that. And like you said, all the background stuff is the same. It's these are the same guitars played over the entire record, the same like riffs and the same just like general sound. They don't switch it up. When they do have different instrumentations, I'm like, wow, a gleam of hope. You know, we're seeing like a glimmer of something else here. And then as quickly as it appears, it's gone again.
Yeah. One interesting point I have about this album is the difference in at least emo music, how it's important to have, I guess, dredging lyricism, but not dredging production. If these songs were at least like 2 minutes instead of a majority of them being 5, but the lyricism was the part that was drudging along, where their concepts were drudging along, that would be better. Because at least with that, I feel like it would be less suffocating. in a sense, because at least with their concept and their themes, they're either okay to good. There's nothing too terrible on here. On the second half, it's just like present. But I feel like if we got more dredging, I feel like if we got more loose production that transitioned a lot more, and also at the same time, if we do have these dredging moments, there was something more cutting edge to make them worth dredging through in a sense. Because if the actual production was something that was almost kind of lost of hope and something that was kind of something that put you in a chokehold and it was worth the 7 minutes, I think make it a 7-minute track. But there's nothing on here that deserves to be 7 minutes in length.
Right. That actually reminds me a lot of like we talked about Blue No No last week, and how I felt like the lyricism wasn't like super interesting, but I felt like the production drove it along. The production drove along this soundscape of LA while Blue attempted to like rap about it, but I don't think that the lyricism came across. The production worked really well. In emo music, I feel like it's like the same thing. Like you said, I seriously like don't mind listening to Trippie Redd talk about absolutely nothing if the production of that track is good and if the melodies are super catchy. But like on American Football, the lyrics are like I don't think that the lyrics drive any sort of narrative. I feel like they're just boring and whiny, and I feel like the production matches that in a sense. And I don't want to listen to music that's you can talk about whiny concepts and you can be whiny in your lyricism, but if your production matches that, I don't want to listen to that record because that's boring and it's unpleasant to listen to.
Yeah. I think that kind of sums it up. This thing's just too long for its own good, and a lot of basically any concepts that the lyricism has off is dredged out through the production, so the point where there's no point to this album. And I think we're going to leave it at that. Until next time, guys, I'm Vincent.
I'm Trevor.
And see you, boyos.
Bye, everybody.